Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about 1D&D. Now, 1D&D was announced this morning. I've watched it already. I also got through about halfway through the playtest PDF. I didn't completely go through it. I went through about half of the 1 hour and 3 minute video that they posted as well. So we're gonna watch the video together. And not only are we gonna watch the video together, we're going to make some commentary about it. So let's get into this. Also, you're in the chat. Say hi. Tell people your opinions about things.
Dungeons & Dragons is a thrilling adventure, one we play together as Dungeon Master and players, but also an adventure itself. Now, we stand at the start of a new generation of Dungeons & Dragons, and today we're going to introduce some of what's in store for us as we embark on an initiative that we call 1D&D.
Okay, so I would like to start off by saying that he flat out says that it's a new generation. But I think that this is the last time throughout the entire video that they refer to it as new, or not new, but like almost a replacement, you know? Please buy our new books to replace what you just bought. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk a little bit about that.
Growing up, I loved fantasy, but I never saw myself as the hero because I didn't think it was possible for someone who looked like me, who acted like me, who was like me to be that hero.
We want to continue to reach out to folks who are interested in fantasy, who love storytelling, who enjoy spending time with their friends and creating these collective stories that they can remember for years to come.
D&D's been around for 50 years, and there's very little that persists that long that becomes generational, that people can really just not only share, but literally hand down to their kids. What we want to do is just add...
What from now, we are on the 5th generation of Dungeons and Dragons. What family is handing down 1E books and being like, here you go, my child. Here is Dungeons and Dragons 1st edition. And then the kid's like, yeah, cool, Dad. I got D&D 5e though. So like, thanks for the THAC0. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, so the only thing that is persistent is the whiteboard members. Yeah, I don't know how comfortable I feel talking about it, but they have already talked about once about someone being able to play a character that looked like them, implying, you know, that the heroes were probably mostly white, which I completely agreed. But they mentioned that was mentioned.
To that legacy.
We did a smart thing with 5th edition by listening to the fans. And what came out of that process?
We listened to them completely hate 4th edition, and we scrambled and quickly made 5th edition so that we didn't lose as much money, and we completely gave up on 4th edition, even though, oh god, please don't be in here, even though 4th edition has some really good aspects to it and could have really been used to push tabletop to the next generation. It just was given up as soon as like the old guard basically gatekeeped it out to hell. So whatever.
Was a system that is stable, that is well loved, that incorporates the best elements of earlier editions. Now that we have that, we are no longer in the position.
That's right, everyone. We're bringing back THAC0. Welcome to THAC0.
Where we think of D&D as an addition. It's just D&D.
5th edition is a rule set that has worked for so many people and has brought so many new and exciting folks into the game. It's more important for us to continue to cultivate and respect and love what it is, you know, that the world has told us is working for them.
The sort of change you're going to see.
I mean, yes and no. There is a lot of D&D 5e that is great, and a lot of people love it, but I wouldn't say that everyone is saying that it's perfect. It is far from perfect. It needs a lot of work. There's a lot of attention that really needs to go back and get rid of a lot of nomenclature, a lot of terminology that is not good. And then also make the game more interesting for people to make decisions versus just cookie cutter character archetypes that are just used over and over again.
Isn't about taking anything away from you, isn't about changing any of that stuff that you love. It's much more about giving you more options, giving you more choices you can make, more character types you can play, more magic spells you can cast. Basically, you know, we're very happy with the game the way it is today. We just want to build on that. We're revising the major core.
I will say, I'm pretty sure that they are scared to make a legitimate 6th edition or a 5.5, because I think that they have grown so massively during 5th edition that if they were to make a legitimate jump to a new system or an upgraded system, that they would create a massive generation war. 5th edition versus 6th edition. Very similar to what Pathfinder has been going through for the last few years of 1st edition versus 2nd edition and previous editions 3.5 to 4 and blah 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 blah, right? But I think the big thing is that D&D has gotten so massive, so big, that I think that they realize that if they were to make a new edition, that there would be a lot of animosity and problematic situations. Like, for example, they just came out with Spelljammer, which is using D&D 5e rules. Now, this is coming out in 2024, so it's 2 years out, right? So if they say, hey, we're making a new edition, it's coming out in 2 years, we want you to play test it, a lot of people are going to say, well, why do I want to buy the books that are going to be out of date in like 6 weeks or 6 months, sorry, not 6 weeks. But it's just like, I think that they want to continue selling books and creating content so that they can continue to add on to this pool. We'll see. Yes, it's 100% a marketing angle. I'm not a new edition, just building on 5e. 100% a marketing strategy.
Rule books that every player uses: the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Manual.
One of my
AKA the 3 core books that every player needs to play this game. You cannot play this game without these 3 books. We are going to update and change these books and how you play the game with these 3 books. But it's not a new version. It's just not, guys. It's just
focuses specifically is the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm going to make some structural changes to make it more friendly to new DMs.
When it comes to art for...
I'll be honest, I don't think I opened the Dungeon Master Guide once. I do own it. I just learned how to play via the Player's Handbook. I'm really not sure why they're 2 separate books. The fact is that you're going to be paying $60 for 2 books that require you to be able to play the game is kind of icky, and I don't like that. But yeah.
For D&D, it's about as versatile as our players. We want to show that the person you are can appear in the worlds of Dungeons and Dragons.
That's what 2024.
Second time we're mentioning diversity. Second time.
Holds is this promise of getting new versions of the books that are the game you know, but reflect where the game is presently.
One D&D has 3 pillars, and one is the rule set, which is built on the base of 5th edition, but updated.
We're building upon the rule.
They cut him off hard in that edit. Hold on. Let's watch that again.
One D&D has 3 pillars, and one is the rule set, which is built on the base of 5th edition, but updated.
We're building.
There was more to that. There was more to that.
Building upon the rules that have been established, the storytelling, and expanding our world and our rule system.
When we say building on top of 5th edition, what we mean is that all the adventures and supplements that have been released in the past 10 years will still be playable with the new evolution of D&D.
Then there's D&D Beyond.
Again, they're promising that you can play the same game that you've been playing with the updated rules that is backwards compatible. But the key thing that they are still saying is that there are 3 books, that the 3 core main books have to be replaced, though. So,
which is the base of our digital tools and assists for players in DM. Currently, players are cobbling together all kinds of different apps and websites to have a true integrated D&D experience. What we want to do is actually just provide all the tools that the players need to play themselves in one space.
Right.
We would like to make sure that anytime you play our game, that you're paying us, that all of that money that you have spent in whatever fashion does not go to third party, that all of it is our IP and no one can make money off of us. Thank you.
Right now, with the acquisition of D&D Beyond, we've already started to dip our toe into digital, and it was a fantastic partnership that we have going, but we can add more.
Is buying another company considered to be a partnership, or is that just buying another company?
Digital physical bundles is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and now that D&D Beyond is part of our family, it's finally something we can do. Your content is available anywhere you want it, and you have those physical books, but you've got nice portable versions that you can access through your phone or through your tablet or through your other device.
Then our future-facing aspect of this is the D&D Digital, which will become a full play space.
Okay, all right. Now, before we go into the 3D rendering thing, I want to talk a little bit about D&D Beyond. So they bought D&D Beyond, which I think is a very smart on their part for buying D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond created a whole entire different company, was able to be profitable by themselves, just living off of the title D&D. They created a bunch of content by digifying that, which I feel like Nexus is doing, but instead of being just D&D, Nexus is doing it across the board for a ton of different games and a ton of different play styles. But I will say, D&D Beyond is a really, really rough system, and I am not the biggest fan of it. So I've used D&D Beyond before multiple times, but as they add features like 3D dice that you can buy digital 3D dice to roll, it's very clunky, and there are some major issues that I have with D&D Beyond. One of them is rolling off of a character sheet. I was on Exquisite Corpse playing a character, and I would click the ability to roll, and it would take a hot minute to do a randomization dice from 1 to 20 and then add a number that is a static number. And it took a while, and it really cut down on the excitement in a game, and it's really, really rough, because if they can, I don't know why it takes so long, but 2, if they can cut that down and just make it just a dice roll and it happens smoothly, not really robotic, that would be really great. But I'm fearful that they've got that system, and then now they're going to be adding on top of it without improving it or making it better. And they're just going to move that same system that they have for your abilities and stuff like that, and then chuck on an entire 3D system. It's really rough. I saw the delay ton on Gaxpack stream. It took forever for it to do the roll. Yeah, it really did. I would literally hit the button. I'm like, roll me an attack. And I would hit the button. And then I'd be like, okay, so what I want to do is I want to grab my sword and I want to hold it above my head, and I would swing at this person, and I am still waiting to find out whether or not I hit them. All right, now I get it. And it's so I don't know why it's that slow. It really should not be that difficult for a web-based app to be able to randomize a number between 1 and 20. I don't know. Now let's look at D&D's version of Tailspire.
For you to have experiences that are more immersive. Right now we're in early development of our digital experience. We can play a game, roll some dice, see the miniatures moving around in a 3D play space, but that's just the core of it.
Models look amazing. I love the lighting on the models. I think that looks really, really good. I can't complain about that. It looks good.
We chose the Unreal Engine for several reasons.
Reason number one, make it...
Can we talk about this cut, though? Can we talk about this auditory cut between two different people and how close it is with each other?
Moving around in a 3D play space, but that's just the core of it.
We chose the Unreal Engine for several reasons.
Reason number one, make it look dope.
That was weird.
That's the first thing. Number two is take care of the lazy DM, because we're all lazy DMs. Ease of use means being able to access all of the tools that you need in order to get the adventure started. So we use the camera technique called tilt shift. It actually makes things look small.
I have so many feelings about this. Cool. Can I not use tilt shift though? That'd be really great. I want to be able to move in. I want to be able to look at my miniatures. I want to look at this. I want to look at it. Give me a first person option. Like, what does the camera angle have to do with the lazy DM? It's not. I think they've moved on from the lazy DM part, but they go back to it because they're going to talk about how basically you can buy modules and you'll be able to upload the module in a 3D render. I didn't see the announcement, so I do see Jake's face right now. Wow. Hi, Sam.
We want to make sure that the experience for you is that you're experiencing a miniature set.
The tilt shift camera was really chosen.
With the tilt shift system, like, did they not think it would look like miniatures when they modeled them to look like miniatures and you would be looking at it in a bird's eye view? I just like the art style that you choose makes it look like a miniature set, not the tilt. Oh, God. Also, I don't like the blur. I don't know if you all see the blur. I really am not a fan of the blur from the top and bottom and the cleanliness in the middle.
The tilt shift
not a big fan of
really
that.
Chosen so that people understood that this wasn't a video game, but it is.
It's not a video game, guys. Oh my God, I would have never known that.
It's a digital experience. We want to give people more minis, more options for character customization. You can actually change the features, do what you...
Again, the models look fucking gorgeous. Look at this guy. Look at, I mean, she doesn't look as good. I don't know why she isn't, like, they highlight her a couple times.
We want to give people
but
more minis,
like, she
more
looks
options for
good, but she,
character customization.
look at the
You can
difference
actually
between
change the
them.
features,
Like,
do what
he
you want
looks
with it,
fucking
and you're
cool.
gonna use
Oh,
this miniature
he even
first to
looks
tell
cool.
stories,
I like both of
just
them.
like you do in physical tabletop.
To have your character live.
I'm transported there, but I'm not limited by the digital technology.
We might give you a pre-made campaign from us.
So this is where I think they're talking about the lazy DM part, but I agree. It was kind of a weird cut that they went from we're all lazy DMs. So here's a digital set. What? How was this? Someone's still got to make this. Someone still has to set this part up. What?
That has an exciting castle or keep with a dungeon inside of it, exciting NPCs, but then you're going to be able to take this playset, take it apart, and build your own. We're going to have a really robust tool for you to be able to create your own dungeons.
This is just the start of One D&D, and we are relying on all of you to help us out and figure out that future together.
What you're going to be able to see starting in August is a steady release of these playtest packages where you'll be able to engage with key aspects of the game, provide us with feedback that then we will digest, process, interpret, analyze, and then act upon.
Really, it's you shaping the next generation of Dungeons & Dragons, and we want to hear exactly what you have to say.
Playtesting starts today. Go to dndbeyond.com, download the playtest packet, and get ready to let us know where you'd like this next leg of the adventure to go.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. I'd love to hear from all of you what your thoughts are on this. It's a new edition. If you're taking the 3 core books that you need to play, the Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook, and the GM's Guide, and you are saying that those books are no longer going to work, and that you're going to have to use the new books, while the new content that has come out, it's still playable. But this is a new version. Or this isn't a new version, but you still have to get rid of your old one. To me, that's a new addition. That's how I feel. It feels like it's a new addition. I also feel like 1 D&D is very much the same idea that Xbox did when they went from Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. Like, you're like, wait, this nomenclature has got me confused. What's happening? What's happening? Yes, a balancing nightmare. Yes, especially because what we're going to go into next, what we're going to watch next, is we're actually going to watch the, we'll probably skip through it because there's a lot, but we're going to go, over what the D&D, origins are, or the playtest. So let's look that in 1 D&D playtest. So let's look at that. Character origins is what we're looking at. So let's watch this.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, no, we have already watched that. Hold on, let me sign in real fast. You don't get to look at my sign in. Or do you? No, you don't. It sounds like Balancing Nightmare. It's D&D, a Balancing Nightmare. It goes basic, advanced, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 1. I don't see the problem, Jay. Yeah, me either. I don't either. I don't see it either. There's no problem whatsoever. Okay, so we want to look at the D&D 1 video that they released. I gotta find it first. I probably should have done this pre-stream, but you know what kind of person would I be? Not a planner, that's for sure. Yeah. So the big announcement is that they've got a new version coming out in 2024, but that's not a new version. It's just called 1 D&D. They bought D&D Beyond, which we all knew, and that they're working on a 3D version. They're working on their own version of Talespire. I am curious to see how Roll20 is taking this news. Like, I'm sure that they had some feelings about it, but yeah. All right, so we're probably going to skip through a big chunk of this video because it is an hour long.
We have...
What's up, Dayton? Dayton, you came in at the perfect time. Do you know why you came in at the perfect time? Because I have been talking about how 4th edition actually had some good aspects to it. Oh, you know what? I screwed up. I didn't turn on my captions. I'm so sorry, everyone. I should have turned on my captions. Let me just fix that real quick. Audio input capture. Boop. Boop. Check, check. It said poop. Anyways, clearly a great closed captioning. Jail, 1,000 years. I know, I'm sorry, I forgot. All right, so let's watch a little bit of this Unearthed Arcana video. Okay, well, hold on. We don't need to. Can I watch this on YouTube? I don't want to watch this. on your website.
This has to do with the player's handbook that is coming out in a couple of years.
2024.
Well, where do we begin? We begin with Origins, right?
Appropriately enough.
Hold on. I can't. I'm sorry. Hold on. I can't watch this at normal speed. This is just. Let's try this at 1.5.
At the beginning. And so this Unearthed Arcana is the first in what's going to be a series of Unearthed Arcana articles that come
Great.
out every month or so.
I love the
over
Unearthed
course
Arcana.
of
I love
not only the
playtesting
next
stuff.
year, but probably the next year and a half or so, where we're going to present different pieces
Ah.
of the player's handbook, but with brand new content, then also familiar content, but with new elements, updates, and this is the chance for D&D fans to let us know what they think, to really lend their voice to the chorus of D&D fans that will be really letting us know where they want us to go next with this game that many of us have been playing for decades, and so many people have been playing since the 5th edition Player's Handbook came out in 2020.
Love all of this
And
so far.
So, with this first one, we thought, why not start at the start? And that is figuring out where your character in D&D, where did they come from? And so when we say your character origin, that's what we're talking about. What
Where did they come from? Where did they go?
in your
Anyways.
backstory helped shape who you are and was formative for you before you became an adventurer. Your adventuring life is largely expressed by your character class. And so character classes we'll get to in some upcoming Unearthed Arcana
Great.
articles.
Okay.
In this one, we're going to be looking at 3 main elements that together express who you were in the earliest stages of your life.
Okay, so we are talking pre-class. We are talking, this one I've gone through. So we're talking ancestry, background, and something interesting about your character, probably.
And that is your character's race.
Can we stop using race as a term in games?
Your character's background, as well as whatever feat that you get as part of that background. Because yes, one of the new things here, which some of our recent D&D books have already signaled was coming, and many fans have already guessed coming, that everyone's background will now give them a first level feat. But we'll talk more about feats, I think, a little later in the video.
So as I have gone through this and I've skipped through this, they are heavy on the feats. They realized that 5th edition did not allow you to make decisions and did not allow you to make your character individual or really separate from each other without having to do some weird, wacky stuff. So they are leaning hard on the feats, which totally cool with. I love that. I love feats. That's one of the reasons why I love Pathfinder 2nd Edition so much, is because you're literally getting to make individual choices that change who your character is, and I really, really love it. Let's get into chat. So like a background. Exactly. Like an ancestry, a background, and a class. Agreed. Let's not talk about the Ranger, all right? The Ranger is a very tough archetype to figure out because bows are hard. And so are having wolves. Trying to okay, I love feats. Trying to background is still not ideal. Just let people pick a feat at first level. D&D 5e is great if you homebrew a lot of stuff off the bat. Monsters, backgrounds, feats. Exactly.
So to begin, since this is about origins, let's start with race.
So your character's race in D&D represents your ancestry in many ways. When you make your character, you decide, is your character a member of the human race or one of the game's fantastical races? Various race options have appeared in many of our books over the last 8 years. Now is our time, in this Unearthed Arcana, to revisit our old friends, the races that are in the Player's Handbook. And so here, we're going to be able to look at, all of us together as D&D fans.
Cool. We're going to skip through a lot of this part because they literally just give examples of different races that you can pick and their like cool aspects or cool ideas of them. I am a book person when it comes to this kind of stuff. I would much rather just look at what the character can do. Like I'd rather just read this. So this is the downloaded PDF that you can get to right now. I'm trying to see if we can, yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So let's look at some races, because origins are basically your race and your background. Origins do not count for your class. So, yeah, that's the thing. So, again, I don't like the term race. I don't want to equate race into this, but that's a different thing. All right, so humans, let's see. Human traits. You're going to be humanoid. You can be a medium or a small creature. This is something that they go into in this 1-hour video where they talk about, hey, you know, we realize that people want to play smaller characters but still be human or still be whatever and play with different heights. So we've decided that you can change your height. Cool, man. Cool. So medium 4 to 7 feet or a small 2 to 4 feet, chosen when you select your race. Your speed is 30. Now this is what I'm curious about because I haven't dug too deep into this, but I'm curious is if other ancestries that are small also have 30 feet or if they're automatically put at a lower speed. So if you choose a human and decide to go a small human, do you get an advantage by having a longer range? Lifespan 80 years. As a human, you have these specific traits. Resourceful. You gain inspiration whenever you finish a long rest. Something that they did change was how inspiration works, which I'm curious to see what you can use your inspiration for, but the idea is that anytime you roll a d20, you can get inspiration and either give it to yourself or you can give it to another player. So it gives a very interesting aspect to that, you know, rolling a d20 and getting a nat 20 would be helpful to get inspiration. But you can still only have one inspiration was the rule that I saw. So anyways, so whenever you have a long rest, you automatically get an inspiration, really pushing that aspect out there. Skillful, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice. Cool. Versatile, you gain a skill feat or another first level feat of your choice. So they have decided that instead of attaching feat to your class or a skill or something, they have said that feats are going to be level based. So at level 1 you get a feat and you can only choose level 1 feats. At level 2 you get a feat and you can choose second or below, but there aren't any limitations. I'm sure that there will be some sort of limitations, like, oh, you must be proficient in dexterity as well as be level 4. Some of the at level 1, none of the feats will give you a bonus to a stat like it does in current iteration of D&D, as they have called it 2014 D&D, even though, anyways, they won't get, first level feats won't give you a bonus to a stat. They will just be feats. For context, chat, the ranger thing I prefer is Wizard of the Coast commitment not to force players to get a book other than the PBH in order to do core content. So they left the Ranger core class broken forever. Is D&D one of their ways of getting around this commitment? Probably not. It's my new conspiracy. Love it. That means that hopefully their feat get balance pass, because 5e feats are kind of broken. Human is not great. Wow, gotta see the other ones, but that's kind of a mid one. Yeah, I agree. So Artling is their new race. For anyone here that has played Pathfinder 2nd edition, these are basically beastkin. They're basically, it's supposed to be the cousin of the Tiefling and the Aasimar. It is a ancestry that is animalistic, so it might have wings or a beak or like animalistic aspects of them. But this is their new ancestry, but it's part of the upper planes, and you have to choose. When you choose this, you have to choose your celestial legacy, exalted, heavenly, or idyllic. Let's look at exalted. The fierce passion of Arbardor. I'm sorry, you all know I can't read. The heroic heart of Ysgard, and the wondrous nature of the Beastlands, called to the Ardalan who have exalted celestial legacy. Their celestial ancestry are heroic champions of the chaotic good planes. I don't, unless this choice affects me other than like flavor text, I'm not really understanding what the point is of these. Like, unless down here we get, maybe there's more. Let's keep going. Artling traits, they're humanoid, they're medium, 4 to 7, or small, chosen when you're selecting the race. Same thing as humans. Speed is 30, lifespan 200 years on average. As an Artling, you have these special traits. Angelic wings. As a bonus action, you sprout spectacular wings for a moment and fly up to a number of feet equal to your speed. If you are in the air at the end of your movement, you fall if nothing is holding you aloft. You can use the bonus action a number of times equal to the proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Humans, inspiration once per long rest versus wings. Yeah, I mean, limited wings though. You only get to move your movement speed on your turn, so it's not like an Aarakocra that's just like level 1 gets to fly. You know what I mean? Okay. Wait, okay, so, okay. Oh, the other thing about Origins I forgot is languages. They're now not limiting you on languages, but I never felt that they limited you on languages. I could be wrong. I haven't played 5th edition, create character-wise in a while, but I'm pretty sure it was like, common and X based off of your intelligence modifier. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure that's how that's always worked, but... Okay, Celestial Legacies. Okay, so apparently when you choose one of these 3, it chooses your suggested animals, but it's only suggestion. So I want to be an exalted dog. I don't. Okay, so it does limit you on do you get a bonus spell? Is that what's happening? Where does this say this? Where does this say that you get a bonus spell? Celestial Legacy. You are recipient of a Celestial Legacy that grants the magical abilities chosen legacy from the Celestial Legacies. Exalted associated with chaotic good planes, heavenly associated with lawful good planes, and idyllic associated with neutral good. I'm sorry, dogs are the goodest, so they are lawful good. Anyways, you gain the initial benefit of one chosen legacy, a cantrip that you learn. You also choose an animal you most closely resemble. The table provides a few suggestions for your legacy. You don't gain wings by choice by choosing an animal that can fly. What? You also choose an animal you most closely resemble. The table provides a few suggestions for legacy. You don't gain wings by choosing an animal. What if I want wings? What if I want wings? How about I get a goose, but the wings aren't strong enough or big enough for me to fly? Like, why limit what? Like, their whole thing is like, we want you to play the character that you want to play, but then like, just because you choose a bird doesn't mean you get wings. Okay, all right. Starting 3rd level and then again at 5th level, you gain an ability to cast a higher level spell with this trait as shown from the table. Once you cast the spell with this trait, you can't cast the spell again until the finish a long rest. However, you can cast the spell using any spell slot you have of the appropriate level. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spell casting ability. Spells you cast with this trait. You also get damage resistance. Hold on. I want to go back to what Sam said, which is human. I get inspiration whenever I rest. Artlings, I can fly. I get a 1st, a 3rd, and a 5th level spell. You also have damage resistance to radiant damage. Yeah, inspiration. Yes, okay. If you read inspiration, it happens a lot more. Agreed. Inspiration happens whenever you roll a natural 20, which is, we discussed this a little bit earlier, which... like, great, but they still limit you to only having 1 inspiration at a time. So, which means you have to spend it to get it back. So, it doesn't seem, it seems worse at that point. Like, if every long rest I get inspiration, and then also as a human, whenever I roll a nat 20, I also get it. I also start the game with inspiration. I also get inspiration when I do a cool thing. It just feels like that's a really weak bonus for humans when the other gets to fly, have damage resistance, radiant, and gets 3 spells. It feels like a lot. And I get that you get a feat at first level for versatile. You gain the skill feat or another first level feat of your choice. We haven't seen the first level feats. Maybe the first level feats are just top notch and it is equivalent to all of this. I don't know, but as of right now, I feel like humans are just pointless. All right, let's go to Dragonborn. Love me some thick Dragonborn boys. Humanoid, medium. You cannot be small as a dragon. Or large. You are only medium. Again, I don't know. I don't understand the choices of saying you get to be a small or a medium human, a small medium Artling, but then like Dragonborns have to be medium. Like if you're going to open up to allow people to play a lot more, or open them up so that people can do a lot more, or play the character that they want to play. Remember, we had 2 diversity quotes in that video. 2 different diversity quotes. So I'm just, humans IRL are pointless. Let me have the escapism where humans aren't pointless. 110% agree. Yeah, I don't like the Artling either. Seems very designed for a certain type of player, which is totally fine. If you want to be, you know, the animal-esque person that can fly, which is... Why do the dogs fly? Why do the dogs fly? Can someone explain to me why do the dogs fly? Why do you even need short humans, to be honest? We have halflings, gnomes, and dwarves. I mean, no. I disagree with that direction. I think that if you're going to open up to having short characters, you should allow everyone to play a short character. Like, across the board. Like, or if it's a short ancestry, like a gnome, a dwarf, or a halfling, allow there to be a tall halfling, gnome, or dwarf. Jake, dogs fly to get the kibble on the top shelf of... No, I know why dogs want to fly. I just don't know why they can fly. But okay, we're on to Dragonborn. We're done with the Artlings. Medium, 30 feet movement speed, 80 years on average. Dragon ancestry, your lineage stems from a dragon prodigy. Fuck, guys, I can't read. I'm sorry. Choose a type of dragon from the dragon ancestry table. Your choice affects your breath weapon and damage resistant type. The chosen dragon also affects your appearance with your displaying colored of other features remnant of the dragon. Black, acid. Okay, cool. I love that we're doing both chromatic and I can't remember the other word. What's the other word? Not chromatic. Anyways, you get a breath weapon. As an action, you exhale distinctive energy in a 15-foot cone. Each creature in the area makes a dexterity saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus your constitution. Metallic, thank you. Chromatic and metallic. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus your constitution modifier. Your proficiency bonus on a failed save, a creature takes 1d10 plus your character level in damage on the type. Love the fact that it scales. Hate the fact that no matter what type of damage and or type of dragon you choose, it is always a cone attack and not a line or a cone or any sort of differentiation between that, kind of giving it the same feel across all dragons. Give me my Gem Dragon Wizard of the Coast, you cowards. I forgot, what do Gem Dragons breathe? What are their breath weapons, Sam? I can't remember. You get damage resistant to the damage type determined by the Draconic ancestry. Great. Dark Vision. You have Dark Vision with a range of 60 feet. Draconic languages. You instinctively know the language of dragons. You can therefore speak, read, and write Draconic. I don't know why you being a Dragonborn would automatically make it so that you know Draconic. Unless they're implying that it is like lizard brain level, like kind of thing. Sleep, ice, radiance, etc. as a versatile, metallic, or chromatic. Okay. Dragonborn's many worlds. That's it. Okay, so that is it. Dragonborn can have a breath weapon and resistance and dark vision, and can speak with dragons. That is their shtick. You're going to play a Dragonborn if you want to be a Dragonborn. I think that's kind of where it's at. Dwarves. Medium. 4 to 5 feet tall. Cannot play a small dwarf. Why can't you play a small dwarf? Can we do it? Oh, yes. Yes. But when you get back from vacation, I want you on stream, and the two of us will do a tier list of D&D ancestries. I am down to clown. I'm down to clown if you are. But yes, you can't be a small dwarf. You can only be a medium dwarf. I'm very confused by these decisions. But guess what? Y'all can live up to 350 years on average. So, yes, we will talk. So, you know, that makes up for not being able to be small. As a dwarf, you have these special traits. Dark vision up to 60 feet. Great. I know every GM loves it when their players let them know they have dark vision. Dwarven resilience. You have resistance to poison damage. You also have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end poison conditioned on yourselves. Are dwarves known? Like, are dwarves known for, like, poison? Like, I get because they're underground. I would be like, that's in Player's Handbook. Is that a thing? I don't remember. I don't know why I don't think of dwarves with poison resistance. I don't know why. I would be like bludgeoning damage. These guys deal with rocks all day. But I'm cool with being wrong. I'm more than happy with being wrong. I just don't think of poison. Alcohol is a poison dwarves drink because stereotypes. There you go. That makes more sense. We're into this. Dwarven toughness. Your hit points maximum increased by 1, and it increases by 1 whenever you gain a level. Congrats, you get toughness. Forge Wise, your divine creator gave you an uncanny affinity for working with stone or metal. You gain a tool proficiency with 2 of the following options of your choice: jeweler's tools, mason's tools, smith tools, or tinkerer's tools. Cool. A skill that most players won't use. As a bonus action, you gain Tremor Sense. With a range of 60 feet for 10 minutes, you must be on stone surface or touching such surface to use this Tremor Sense. The stone can be natural or worked. You can use the bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I like it. It's just weird that it's just like, I'm going to spend a bonus action, and for the next 10 minutes, Tremor Sense. I feel like it needs to do, I think with this one, it needs to go closer to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, where you have to, like, continue to use your bonus action to make tremor sense continue to happen, I think that would be more interesting versus just like, boom, I got tremor sense. Tremor sense on stone, in before every player says, what is the floor? What is the floor? What is the floor? Yeah, every dwarven player. What kind of floor am I on? I don't like brick. Sorry, I'm not entering this place. All right, elves. Long flavor text. Not gonna read that. All right. Elven traits. Humanoid. Medium. Elves can only be medium. It would be garbage action economy to do it every action. Yeah, I agree. There's also rumors that they're moving away from the attack, movement, and bonus action. There's rumor that those are going away, so I can definitely see that it being changed up a little bit. It's just weird that it's 10 minutes. Like, one bonus action, 10 minutes. Like, if it's out of combat, that makes sense. Like, you can just be like, okay, I want to activate my tremor sense. But if you're in combat, it feels weird to have tremor sense up for 10 minutes while you're doing other things. Because I imagine tremor sense is very much the, like, you're in tune with the ground, and any vibration you're feeling, you're able to notice. It's kind of like subtle noises. Like, if you're being silent, you're being quiet, you can hear subtle things that are happening. But as soon as you are fighting or moving around or doing things, it's much more difficult to pay attention to those subtle sounds. They're moving away from the action economy, and they're thinking their previous supplements will still be balanced. Sam, the answer is no. It also is just a rumor. It's just a rumor. There's no substantial evidence proving that it is anywhere true. So it's situational versus stealthy individual enemies, so it's cool but still fairly situational. Yeah, I agree. I'm not digging the classes or the ancestors yet. Okay, let's go back to elf. Can only be medium, 30 feet, 750 years. As an elf, you have these special traits. Dark vision up to 60 feet. So far, a lot of dark vision. Elven lineage. You are part of an elven lineage that grants you supernatural abilities. Choose lineage from the elven lineage table. Drow, the lineage of the Underdark. Half-elf, the lineage of the Fae crossing and other magical locations. Wood elf, the lineage of primeval forests. You gain a first level benefit of that lineage. At 3rd level and 5th level, you also gain the ability to cast a spell with these traits. Once you cast a spell with these traits, you can't cast them. However, you can cast the spell using the spell slot at the same level. Intelligence, blah, 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 blah. All right, love you too, Sam. See ya later. We'll talk tomorrow. Or whenever you have. You also get, so before we get into what you get with your lineage, you get Fae ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws to make a void or end charmed condition on yourself. Keen sense, you have proficiency in the perception skill. Trance, you don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. You can finish a long rest. All right, let's see. Drow, a range of dark vision is increased to 120 feet. You'll also know that Dancing Light cantrip. At 3rd level, you get Fairy Fire, and at 5th level, you get Darkness. High Elf, you know that the Prestidigitation cantrip, whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that cantrip with a different cantrip of the arcane spell list. That's cool. Detect magic, Misty Step. I feel the first one's pretty strong because you get a Prestidigitation, which no one ever uses. Well, I mean, like, you use it for, like, flavor or for fun. But whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that cantrip with a different cantrip from the arcane spell list. So, AKA, you get a free cantrip of your choice as long as it's arcane, which could be a lot of really cool things. Wood elves, your speed increases to 35 feet. You also know the Druid craft cantrip. You get long stride and pass without a trace. I like that one the best. I like the wood elf the best. I think it is the most unique out of them. The other It's more like, I don't know. I just like it. You know, don't yell at me. Then we've got a bunch of flavor text of what each of the elves are. I'm not sure why this is in the playtest, but you know, they've already created the flavor text. Gnomes. All right. Gnomes. You have to be small. Cannot be medium. Pass without a trace is such assault. Agreed. 100%. One of my favorite spells. At least like utility spells, I gotta say. 30 feet, 425 years. As a gnome, you have the special traits. You have dark vision with a range of 60 feet. Gnomish cunning. You have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Gnomish lineage, which I feel is the same thing as the elven lineage, but they have only got two lineages to choose from. Okay. We've got forest and rock gnome. Forest gnome, you know the minor illusion cantrip. You can also cast Speak with Animal spell. With this trait, you can cast it with the trait of a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses of your finish whenever you finish long rest. You can also use any spell slot you have to cast with that spell. You know the mending and prestidigitation cantrip. Elves, books and books of flavor text. Gnomes, you're small. Here's some stuff. Yeah, I don't know why there's so much flavor text for the elves. All right, how much more do we got of this? Why don't we go back to the video a little bit? I feel like we've gone through a bunch of we get the kind of idea behind it. We'll scroll through these. Orcs, I love the orcs are in here. Orcs are apparently the smallest section. You get dark vision, powerful build. You count as a size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. AKA the first rule that every GM gets rid of, carrying capacity. Relentless endurance, when you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again for long rest. Love this ability. Love this ability. One of my favorite abilities. But let's go back to the video. We've talked quite a bit about this. So
the latest versions of humans, elves.
Oh, haha! Muted myself.
Many familiar aspects of those races are still here. Many of the traits that people have been using for the last 8 years are right here on the page. But then there are also new traits. And some of those traits that we've been all using in our characters have give a new dimension of play for people as they play their dwarf, their halfling, their gnome, what have you. In some cases, there are also options where before there were none. One example I'm really excited about is if you play a tiefling, you now have several really interesting choices. Choices that we began exploring years ago in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and now lean into here in this UA for the Player's Handbook in the game as well.
Okay.
And when it comes to tieflings, we added that option because some of the game's iconic themes are actually quite little.
Yeah.
and so we thought, how fun would it be to see more height variance in tieflings? A theme then that we
can confirm tieflings can be medium or small. There are no small dragons. There are no small dragons, so you can't be a small dragon born.
Carry over into a brand new race that is also in this Unearthed Arcana. Would you like to talk about this?
Yes, I would love to.
So
these are very unique.
Yes. So in this Unearthed Arcana, we introduce a race that we're calling.
This is the one we talked about. We talked about the Ardlings already.
There's something special about you, especially when you then also temporarily sprout your spectral wings to go on short little bouts of flight. So this will also be the first time that we have introduced a race with limited flight in the Player's Handbook.
My humanoid bat fantasy already.
All right, we're going to keep going.
Of different humanoid kinds. One parent might be a dwarf, the other one might be a halfling. One parent might.
Okay,
be
so yes, I want to talk about this.
The race section of the same UA, because something that we offer to players now officially. This is something people have been doing in their their games for many years. In a sort of story space between your race choice and your background choice, we encourage you to consider the possibility that your character might have parents of different humanoid kinds. One parent might be a dwarf, the other one might be a halfling. One parent might be a human, and the other one might be an orc. Some of these pairings the game has embraced in the past. We're now opening it up so to encourage people to realize.
other than half-orc, what have they embraced when you have multiple parents? Dragonborn, right? I guess theoretically you can say that, you know, your mom's was a dragon and your pops was human, but like there aren't a ton as far as I'm aware.
Many pairings are possible, and when you do it, what you do is you choose one of those. Basically, you choose the parent that gives your character your game traits, right. But then you can mix together the visual qualities of the two to determine how your character looks. And so,
oops, but you can't be a small dwarf. Sorry, guys.
You have two options to draw
Sorry.
from for the aesthetic of your character, and then again you choose which one is giving you your special traits, your character's size, and speed, that sort of thing.
And like you said, players have been doing this for so long. Like, my own wife plays a gnome, half-goblin, a noblin.
Right.
Like, this is very common. You just have to choose the stats that you want to go with.
Right, yeah. And so again, another example of us providing new ways of...
Okay. If you get to choose your stats, right? Like if you get to choose like your set stuff, oh really, Dragonborn and half dragons are different. Interesting. So half orcs, half elves. That's about it. Half dragons. Okay, so what they're saying is that you can basically choose any stats, but then choose a different look. Which, like, at that point, why don't they just say, here are traits that you can choose, and with those traits, you can choose what you look like. Because, like, what's preventing me from being a Dragonborn elf, like my Dragonborn and an elf parents, and I take the Dragonborn stats, but I look like an elf, or I take the elven stats and I look like a Dragonborn. Like, why even attach the stats to a specific ancestry? Why not just say here's a bunch of choice and here's a bunch of like points associated to how much it costs. You get 10 points. Choose what you want to get. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Of experiencing the game we're all already playing. So now let's go from that to then the backgrounds.
Yeah, let's get into the backgrounds.
And backgrounds are really exciting for me because of how we essentially deconstructed them into their component parts, examined each part, and then reassembled them. And so the first thing that people are going to see is that the default option now for your background is to build your own. In the 2014 Player's Handbook, we had a bunch of backgrounds you could choose from. And then we had a rule that said if you want to customize a background, here's how you do it. We've essentially kind of reversed the priority order, where now the default is build your own background, and we tell you exactly how, or choose one of the sample backgrounds that we provide that were built using the rules that we just gave you for building a background. And so what those rules include are some choices for your character that can be very meaningful for you, not only in terms of your character's story, but also in terms of your character's abilities. Because, first off, speaking of...
Okay, so now we're just flat out looking at backgrounds now. So I'll bring over the background. So let's start with the first one, which again, they're allowing you to build your own, which is nice. I love that. Should always give that option, which is kind of what I was saying when I was talking about ancestries. Like, if you're just going to allow people to have any sort of stats to their looks, you should allow people to mix and match, and just choose. Just say I'm an orc with dragon breath, like and I can breathe fire, and and let your players come up with the reason of why your character can do that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to allow people to have the freedom, just give them the full freedom. But so you choose your ancestry, your race. Now you're choosing your background. So we're going to go over the first one, which is Acolyte. You get a ability score bonus of 2 to your wisdom and 1 to your intelligence. You get a skill proficiency of insight and religion. You get a tool proficiency, and you get a language as well as a feat. You get magical initiate. So that's what you're going to get. Oh, sorry. I accidentally clicked on another book. Oh, Acolyte. So it's a background. You spend your early days in a religious monastery. Cool, cool, cool. You choose 2 ability boosts. One must be intelligence, and the intelligence or wisdom, and one is a free ability. Oh, interesting. You train with religion and scribing lore. You gain student of canon skill feat. Huh. It's kind of like super alike. It's really interesting. Anyways, back to what we were doing. Artisan. Again, you're getting 2 different skills. One's going to be a bigger bonus. One's a smaller one. You get 2 skill proficiency, some sort of tool proficiency. The other book, that I think that was a game called Pathfinder 2nd edition, I think. The only other thing that's different is that you're also getting some equipment, which is fine. You get parchment, 10 sheets, some rope, a book, holy symbol, 3 gold. Great. You get a couple of items, which, I mean, if I'm GMing you and you've chosen Acolyte as your background, and you say you pull out a book that's like a Bible of some sort, our doctor would be like, "Where did you get that? Did you spend the gold to buy that?" It's just like, cool. Sure. You have a holy symbol? I assume so. I assume you do. Yeah, I mean, these are all basically the same. 2 skill stats, 2 skill proficiency, some sort of tool proficiency, a language, and a skill. They're all kind of the same thing all the way down the line, which is very, very similar to Pathfinder 2nd edition. You choose a background. With that background, you will always get 2 boosts. One of them is limited, while the other and is more focused to what the background is. For example, dexterity, charisma for artists, and then you will have a free one. And that one can just be free, which I will say I like a lot more, because if I want to be an artist or an acolyte, say I want to be a member of a cult of lambs, and I choose Acolyte, but I'm not doing a character that is, what was it? What was Acolyte? It was like wisdom and something else. Did I already skip it? It wasn't wisdom or intelligence based. Like, I am playing a barbarian, and neither of those bonuses help me. Like, it doesn't... It sucks, because then I can't choose this without being off like making my character not as strong as I want it to be. Because I think that while you can be a you can make decisions that don't make your character like peak, I also think that you can make decisions to make your character strong and enjoy playing your character, but also make interesting choices. Like, I don't think that making interesting choices and optimizing your character are polar opposites of the same spectrum. I think you can make interesting choices while being optimal. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like saying, I want to be an acolyte, but by choosing an acolyte, I'm getting wisdom and intelligence, so I'm going to have to put a lot of energy in other stats to give me that bonus, you know? Which is why I kind of like the free choice one. Anyways, let's continue on with the video.
One of your choices in background is where you're going to put a floating +2 and a +1 to your ability scores.
Cool. That's what we were just talking about.
Familiar, who've been playing D&D with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, as well as some of our other recent books like Monsters of the Multiverse that allow you to have a +2 and a +1 that you decide where they go in your characters. So this is going to feel familiar, but what's different is now that we're working on revising the Player's Handbook itself, where those bonuses now live in this playtest material is in the background section.
And it makes sense because you've been doing this. This is your background. This is like the life that you have led.
Exactly.
This is why you are more dexterous. This is why you're stronger, because you lifted greatsword. Like
Yes.
you were a soldier. You know, this kind of equates.
Exactly, because background is all
Agreed.
about
I like
what
that.
you've been doing
Yeah.
for all the years before you became an adventurer. It has a
All right.
meaning.
We're gonna keep skipping.
Is to empower this build your own approach.
Yeah.
So then the other thing you get in your background, and we touched on it earlier in our talk, and it is, in my mind, the most exciting new piece of background, and that is you also get a first level feat. So in that statement, there are a few things for me to unpack. First off, I just talked about a feat and gave it a level. That's critical, because people are going to see, not only in this Unearthed Arcana, but in the upcoming Unearthed Arcanas over the next year plus, they're going to see feats appearing, and every feat will have a level on it.
Give me feats.
Give
me feats.
Class feature that doesn't belong to a single class.
I love
feats.
feats.
Class features have levels. Feats. First level feat. Because when you see some of the higher level feats in our upcoming Unearthed Arcanas, some of those feats will still have a +1 to a particular ability score. But again, one of the signs of a first level feat is they don't include that. Background just feeds you a particular...
Okay, so let's talk about feats. Let's look into some of these feats. All right. Feat description, alert, prerequisite none, but you have to be, so first level feat, so the prerequisite is you have to be first. So I mean there is that, but I get the prerequisite is in addition to the level prerequisite. There's nothing else. You cannot take it more than once. Good to know. Always on the lookout for danger. You gain the following benefits. Initiative proficiency. When you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. Initiative swap. Immediately after you roll initiative, you can swap your initiative with an initiative of one willing ally in the same combat. You can't make this swap if if you or the ally is incapacitated. I love that. That's a cool feat. I mean, just in general, I like that, especially because a lot of characters benefit from either being in the very beginning or being at the very end. It sucks when your fighter isn't proficiency in initiative and they're going last, and your spellcasters have to move forward to cast their spells, but the big hulking fighter, paladin, barbarian is hanging out in the back going, yeah, I'll get there eventually. That's just a cool feat. I mean, there's a lot of feat. Lucky. Okay. First level feats, luck point. You have a number of luck points equal to your proficiency bonus. You can spend a point on the benefits below, and you gain the expended luck point whenever you finish a long rest. Advantage, immediately after you roll a d20 for a d20 test, you can spend 1 luck point to give yourself advantage on the roll. Yeah, love swapping. Swapping initiative is great. I wish that was more of a common thing. I wish that was just a default rule across games, but that's just me. Disadvantage, when a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend 1 luck point to impose disadvantage on the roll. This seems really, 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 really strong. Just to equivalent to your proficiency bonus per day, you just flat out get advantage on any roll that you want, or disadvantage on a roll, on top of how easy it is to get what is it called, the inspiration. They changed luck point from 3 to proficiency. That can be dangerous when you move along. Yeah, I mean, as you go up, I mean, 3 was still a lot. I mean, all right. Are they going to give us any feats past level 1, though? No. Toughness. Your hit points maximum increase by amount equal to twice your character's level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit points maximum increases by an additional 2. So this, with the, I think it was the Dwarven one where you get an additional 1 hit point per level, and then now you get an additional 2 hit points. You get, with those 2, you're going to get 3 hit points per level. Now, since I'm used to playing Pathfinder, that doesn't seem like very much, but it's a lot in D&D. Rolling, critical hits, divine spells, game settings, grappled, movable, incapacitated, inspiration. Okay, yeah, inspiration. The main way that characters gain inspiration is by rolling a 20 for a d20 test. The DM can also award inspiration to a character who's done something that is particularly heroic or amusing. Only one at a time. You can never have more than 1 inspiration instance of inspiration. If something gives you inspiration and you already have it, you can give inspiration to a player character in the group who lacks it. Losing inspiration. If you still have inspiration when you start your long rest, you lose that inspiration. Boo. Anyways. Long rest, something that doesn't exist in 2022. That's how you know this is a fantasy game. Musical instruments or categories. See the 2004 handbook. Slow. So this is just, okay, we're looking at some spell names, but no like breakdowns of what the spells are. There's also no classes in this. So you can't really play anything. You can only just kind of look at it. Theoretically, I guess you could throw this into your current game. So if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you want to add this kind of flavor to your game, if you have one of these ancestries, you can swap them out. We're only 27 minutes through this video, and we have gone through the entire playtest. I don't know what else they're going to talk about.
Particular feat. For instance, if you pick the Sailor, you're going to get Tavern Brawler. And
great, next.
The Laborer background, where you're going to get all the stuff you would expect.
27 minutes to 30. Okay, still talking about it. 30.
We're now going to want to take the Healer feat.
Still talking about feats.
Non-spellcasting. But then you also have the ability that whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can give inspiration.
Oh, we're talking about
to a
inspiration.
number of people who hear you play a song on one of
Nope.
your instruments, and the number of people who can gain inspiration.
Still
is
talking about
a
feats.
proficiency bonus. So, in other words, the higher level you get, now you can do that.
Yeah, if you want to hellish rebuke someone, which I love doing, you can do so now.
The feat also
still talking about feats.
Actually have substance in the game itself. That there is a list that you can go look at and go, here are the sort of universal arcane spells. Here are the universal divine spells, and so on. Now, people have to wait for upcoming Unearthed Arcanas to see how classes use those lists, because classes are going to use those lists, but classes are also going to have access to spells that go beyond those universal lists. But again, that's for future us to talk about. But again, I think already this is super exciting. Being able to reveal these new types of spell lists that provide tremendous amount of flexibility for characters, not only that will be able to be made with this series of Unearthed Arcana articles, but also that will be able to be made in the future.
Yeah, it is a very exciting time. This is a very weighty UA. We're going to be doing this often this year. Somewhat semi-monthly, but yeah, not necessarily strictly defined in terms of timing, but we have a lot of UAs coming out this year. We need a lot of player feedback.
A lot of information.
And there is so much in this UA that you can then immediately give it to one of the other characters in your group.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's likely that people are going to have it because you get it by rolling a 20. And one of the new traits of humans in the game is humans, whenever they finish a long rest, have inspiration. So every human in your group is going to start. Exactly. Yeah. We want to see, what does the community think? Can make an informed.
All right.
Many surveys that people have filled out that have been valuable to our work. We've been listening. We've been paying.
Great. I think we should change over. What do you think? Do you think we should change over and play a little bit of Cult of the Lamb God at this point? Because I'll be honest, there was a lot there. It was pretty dense, but we